go. What's up YouTube, this is Paul from Mickey Tech Tips, and today I'm going to be doing some kind of review type video of the Droid Turbo 2, my new daily driver as a phone. So let's get started. Okay, so basically, I've had this phone since December, around Christmas time. So I've had it for almost 3 months now, because it's like March now. And I honestly love this phone. I also got a Windows phone at the same time, which you can check out that review up here. And see what I explore about the Windows Phone operating system, because I honestly wanted to try something else. To maybe possibly replace Android. Of course that didn't happen, so I just still stuck with Android. But I've been using this phone and it's a really phenomenal. I can't say, it's a really great phone. I can't say phenomenal. Oh, however you say, my tongue's getting tired. But anyway, this is a really great phone. One of the biggest selling points is that it has a shadowproof display, because it's like a 5-layer display. So if you drop it, all it does is dent your display, and if you don't like the dents, you can either pay $30 and get another glass screen protector that's built in. So it's called the Moto Shadow Shield Lens, and you can install it yourself with like the special tool and stuff, because that's the only way to take it off. And that comes with it, or you can pay Motorola like $60 and the turnaround time's like 2 days. And they'll fix it for you so you don't get any dust and stuff, which I like that, because getting dust under the screen protector is kind of drives me nuts. But that's one of the big selling points. They even guarantee it for 4 years that it won't shadow as long as that shadow shield's on, so don't remove it. And you can't unless you have that tool anyway. And then another selling point is that this thing has a over a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, which is awesome, because my old Moto X, which I don't have anymore because I traded it in to get that Windows phone, it only had about a 2200 milliamp hour battery. So I noticed on light use days, I've been able to have to only charge this every other day. So like right now, it's only at 51%, and it's like 8 o'clock at night, so it's pretty great. On heavy use days, I've seen it chug through the day and be fine. Whereas if I had my old Moto X, I probably would have had to charge at least one time already on a heavy use day. So that's one of the biggest selling points. The other selling points of the Droid Turbo lineup. Another one that I really like about this is that it was customizable in Moto Maker, which is Motorola's own website thing where you can customize your phone, which I regret not doing that when the original Moto X came out, but I still had a great phone back then. But if you look, I got a ballistic nylon so you can feel it. It feels really great. I really like that feel. It's got like a tan bezel slash unibody chassis on the side. Actually, it wouldn't be bezel, it would be the chassis, whatever you call it. I forget the term. So it looks really great for an accent. And if you look closely, I got a lime green going on and a lime green going up here. And this is also a black screen. So I like that customization. After I got this phone, I went into Best Buy just to look around, and I went and picked up a Droid Turbo 2 with the hard rubberized plastic or whatever the other option is, and felt it did not feel as great as this, because this feels really soft and comfortable to hold. Now granted that I use an OtterBox for my everyday case, because even though it's still supposed to be a really tough phone, I still don't trust myself to an extent. So this does have a nice feel, so if you go without a case, because it has a shadowproof display. But anyway, so it feels really nice. My only complaint is that it's a really big phone, and it took me a long time to get used to, because I had a 5-inch Android before that, and like it ran great. So that was a sweet spot for it, and if I went back to a 5-inch Android, I wouldn't be too mad, but I've kind of gotten spoiled by having this big phone, so I've even gotten used to not really using a tablet as much because I can use this phone because it's got like a 5 point something inch display, and like my old Moto X had a 4.92, so this is like a 5.5, so that half an inch made a big difference. So it's really great. Another reason why I bought the phone was for Motorola's enhancements, like okay Google now. Okay Google now. Okay, there we go. The hands-free control, I bought that. Bought the phone just for one of those features. Now, it's not as responsive as the original Moto X because the original Moto X had OK Google Now programmed in. It popped up this time. And then later on you could change it to other phrases, but this one you can pick, you can only change it to other phrases and pick other phrases. So like the reason why I picked OK Google Now is because I'm used to that. So I picked it thinking that, you know what, it should be responsive like the old Moto X was. And it's not as responsive as it could be. And I would even like that feature if they put that as an option. You could either make your own or put in OK Google Now like the original Moto X had later on down the line. Because originally it only had OK Google Now. But I'm not complaining. This thing also runs almost pure vanilla Android. If I can enter my password. So, yeah. So it runs almost pure vanilla Android. Those are my dogs. So, I honestly, that's another thing I like because I've seen TouchWiz on Samsung phones hate it. In fact, my mom's got a Samsung phone. Hate TouchWiz. It's kind of confusing. I've played around with LG's overlay of on their phones before. I forget what that's called, but didn't care for that. But I've used the stock Nexus 7, not the original one, but the second gen stock Android, and some of my older phones I've had. Actually, yeah, my second Android I had a stock Android, so I kind of liked stock Android. So when I picked my original Moto X, I picked it because of the stock Android. Actually, it's called Vanilla Android, and even though they still have some enhancements, it's still almost as stock as you can get without having to buy a Nexus device. Now, I bought that and got that same kind of experience. In fact, if you would have just stuck a display out and made it and shrunk it down to the size of the Moto X, the only thing I would have not have noticed is that it was a faster phone, but it felt like I was using a Moto X, but a really faster and more battery life one, and one with a bigger screen. So inside on the overlays, didn't feel too much difference because this thing did run Lollipop when I got it, and that's what my old Moto X ran before I got rid of it. And now this thing runs Marshmallow, which honestly Marshmallow isn't much of a difference. So it still feels like the same, like I've been using the same phone for a long time. Migration was easy with the new Google enhancements on that, so it took me about an hour because I had some other outside stuff that Google didn't back up, like files and stuff. So like an hour later, I was on my phone and I dove right in, reset my old phone, and I've not really had to miss anything, and this thing's ran perfectly. So I like that. Another thing I like, this thing has a micro SD card slot. So I have a 32GB micro SD card plus another 32 gigabytes of onboard storage, which is great because now I have 64 gigabytes of storage on my phone. And if you go out and go buy the 64 gigabyte Droid Turbo 2, which I don't know if they still do that deal, but when I got mine, they had a deal that if you got a 64 gigabyte, I think like a year later you could refresh the design and send it into them, and they sent you another one if you didn't like the design because you paid that extra money. So that was the upside for that. But I just got 32 gigabytes, so it's fine. But that was one of the other things they were bragging about, that you could refresh your design if you didn't like it. So nah, I could see that because you could make some really awful designs. But anyway, so I only got a 32 gigabyte, which is fine because if I fill up a 32 gigabyte phone, I've done it before on other devices like tablets and like iPods and stuff. And I've done it on 16 gigabyte phones. It's easy to do that, but if I have an SD card in here, which that was also free with Verizon at the time because it was like around Christmas time, so I've never really had to hit 64 gigabytes. So like right now I'm like half full, so I think it's doing really great. And there's a bunch of junk on here that I need to clean out, but storage wise, I'm really happy with that. I'm so glad that it doesn't have 16 gigabytes storage. I would have been really ticked off. What's another good thing about it? Oh, I do got to point out a downfall. This thing has a Snapdragon 810, which kind of overheats. Now, I want to compare it to my old Moto X. So, it had a Snapdragon S4 Pro processor, which is not affiliated with Samsung by any way, I don't think. And it stayed pretty cold at idle and when I used it, but when I went over to this, I was in a kind of a shock, and I've even seen reports that the 810 processor did overheat. Now, the only people that actually have fixed it would be Sony, but putting heat pipes on one of their phones to fix it, and it still ran pretty, it ran cool, but it didn't run as cool as it could be, but it was cooler than what most 810 phones were. So I saw manufacturers do that. Other ones, like Motorola, just stuck a chip in and just forgot about messing with trying to figure out cooling. And then other ones, to fix the problem, they stuck an 808, which a Snapdragon 808 isn't that much of a difference from an 810. In fact, most people said they didn't even notice a difference. So like right now at idle, this thing's sitting at 86 degrees, but of course this garage feels a little cooler because it's in the evening. But if I'd play on it, I could get this thing up to upwards about 136 degrees, because I do my Let's Play videos on here with the YouTube gaming app to record screen recording in 720p. Plus I play the games at 1440p because this is a 1440p screen. That thing got pretty toasty. In fact, I was noticing some thermal throttling, so it kept trying to freeze up, and like the YouTube gaming kept quitting because it was thermal throttling. So that was my only disadvantage about that. Other than that, I honestly think this is a great phone. I really like it. It's got a bunch of the same customization improvements. Oh, and also another thing, their dialer, which I'm not going to bring it up because I got contacts in there, but it has an automatic speed dial, so it keeps track of whoever you call most, and it pulls that up on your dialer. So that's a good thing. Another thing, I like it, but it took a long time for me to figure that out, is flashlight. I thought you did a karate chop like this, but it never came on. But after I figured out that you could do that and it works, I like that. And then it goes off. I can also shake the wrist 2 times and the camera comes up. It's really great. I really like that feature. Another feature I like is this thing has a selfie cam flash, so it lights up your face without having to use like a Snapchat flash, because those screen flashes do suck. And it actually takes pretty decent pictures. I really like that. It's got a bright flash on the back. Oh, and one more thing before I wrap up. This has a 4K camera on there. And in fact, if you want to watch the video that I took, click up here, up in the card, and you can see the 4K video that I took on there. And even though I don't have a 4K screen, I could still see pixels in my computer monitor. This is a 1080p selfie cam, so it's really great. I've taken also some great stills on here, but I don't think I'm going to put them in just because it'd be too much work to find them. But anyway, it's a really great camera. It's got a good processor, good battery life. It's overall a good phone. I'd recommend that you buy it. So yeah, in fact, I really like it. And so it's going to be hard for me to switch over to whatever phone I get next. In fact, I'll probably stick with Motorola just because I really like the phones. This is my 3rd Motorola phone I've had. 2nd smartphone. My original Motorola that I had was a basic phone years ago, and it was okay. But I've had 2 smartphones from Motorola, and it's been really great. So remember to like, comment, subscribe. This design really reminds me of my old Moto X. Great design, Motorola. I guess I'll see you guys next time.